If you have to caulk your bathtub but you're not quite sure how to do it, make sure to watch this entire video because I will share 3 easy and quick steps that you can follow to get this job done right the first time. And I'll show you how to do it on my bathtub. Before you start, you have to remove all of your old caulk because the new caulk is not going to adhere to your old caulk and it's not going to stick well to a dirty, messy surface. It needs to be dry and free of all of your old caulk. Step number 1 relates to the caulk and the preparation of the caulk. You will want to select a caulk that is rated for kitchen and bath. The reason behind this is that these caulk formulas are made specifically to resist mold and mildew. That is something you do not want growing in your shower or in your bathtub. Also, prepping the tip of your tube of caulk properly will make a significant difference in applying the bead when you put it down. You want to cut at a 45-degree angle and you want to make sure that the hole that you put in the tube is not too large. My recommendation is start small when you cut the tip. If the hole is not large enough and you need more product to come out of the tube, you can always make the hole a little bit bigger. If you cut too big, you can't make it any smaller at that point. You're gonna need a new tube. To do this, I just like to use the built-in cutting tool on my Octogun caulk gun. This gives me the ability to see down inside of the gun when I'm making the caulk so I can get my angle straight, and I just pull the trigger in order to make the cut. With the tip cut, you can use the poker tool on the end of your caulk gun or on your handle in order to push that into the hole that you've just made in order to puncture the seal. This works nicely when you have an old tube of caulk that has some crusty stuff inside there in order to open it up so that you can get the product out. And now that your tube is ready to roll, you can simply load it into your gun and move on to step 2. With step 2, we're going to start applying our bead of caulk. Now there are a few things to keep in mind here. When you apply, I always recommend keeping your tube at a 45-degree angle as you pull it across the surface. Speaking of which, you want to pull across the surface at a nice, even pace. Now, if you've not caulked before, or maybe you're not a pro, you don't do this every day, you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. You can simply wipe the new caulk out and redo it, or you can wait for it to dry, remove it again, and go at it again. You have unlimited tries, just you're limited to what you have in your tube. Additionally, one of the hardest parts to caulk is the corners. My preference is I start in the corner and I work my way out of the corner. It gives me the ability to take my finger to mound up the caulk in the corner and get the right amount in there versus going into the corner and then my arm and my tube gets stuck and then I end up caulking sideways and it just never comes out straight. You need to make sure that you caulk all of the different areas on your tub. The back part of the tub is an obvious one. If your tub is in a shower, you want to get all the way up the corners to the top, wherever that tile ends. And you also want to go down the front of your tub and across the floor if it requires replacement. But that reminds me, there's one thing to keep in mind here. You also need to pick the right color caulk. I didn't mention that before. For most of my tub and shower, I use a white caulk, and you can see it's white by the top of the tube. But there is a section of darker tile up here where it has a bit of a clear iridescent look to it. And I will use a clear caulk just in that one section so that it matches up nicely and doesn't have that odd white contrast. So keep that in mind as you have to caulk all of the different areas, including the little nooks that you might have in your shower. Step 3 is finishing your caulk. Now you'll want to do this as you move along with step 2 because you don't want your caulk to dry too much, then you won't be able to finish it. But there's 2 ways that you can get this done very easily. The first is your caulk finishing tool that comes on your Octogun caulk gun. This works awesome on trim. I love using it on trim and baseboards, and it works well in the tub also. You can also use your finger when it comes to the tub, because when you move your finger along the line of that bead of caulk, you can apply different pressure as you move in and out of different grooves when it comes to the tile that meets the top of your bathtub, or as you move up and down the corners of your shower area. Just make sure that you keep paper towels nearby because you're gonna have to wipe that finger off pretty often as you accumulate caulk on the tip of it. You also need to let the caulk dry. Check your product details to find out how much time is going to be required for that caulk to cure. The one that I chose says 30 minutes. Yours might take longer. Just follow the instructions. You'll also want to make sure that you plug the tip of your caulk tube so that you can use it later if you still have caulk remaining inside of it. But maybe you're still stuck at the beginning trying to figure out how you're going to remove the caulk that was on the tub in the first place. And for more information on that, click or tap on this video.